smartphones and tablets. And their fingertips are pointed on smartphones. Regardless of age, gender, social status, and economic level, most of us start our day by checking social media, reading news online, and searching for the latest Justin Bieber video on our smartphones. As we wait for the food to be served at a restaurant, or as we walk along the sidewalk, or even while we wait for buses or subways, almost everyone is occupied with their closest friend, smartphones. What I want to point out is that regardless of time and place, it has become a common scene to witness people who are occupied with their smartphones. However, do we have to accept it as a good phenomenon? Well, despite its beneficial functions, I believe that the use of smartphones do not benefit in building healthy relationships. As the smartphone has become a necessity in the modern world, it is more difficult to find someone who does not own one. About 80% of the world's population now has a mobile phone, out of which 1.08 billion are smartphones. According to the recent study by Red Travel, 56% of social media users said that they check Facebook at least once a day. And 12% of them said that they check in every couple of hours to look for any updates on SMS. It means that people are generally addicted to the online community, and this addiction has negative effects on building healthy relationships. The smartphone makes people feel no significance in building relationships in the real world. Since the smartphone offers opportunities to check email and interact with others through instant messaging or social network service, it has become a primary way of communication in our daily life. It is apparent that individuals invest more time to their screens, tweeting, and engaging on Facebook than seeing someone personally. Since the communication can be done with a couple of touches on a smartphone, people rely on smartphone to keep and maintain their relationships. This poses a danger in relationships as people will not make efforts to make face-to-face interactions with friends and colleagues. Surely, smartphones allow us to communicate with people easily. However, as less people engage in oral communication, smartphones will not be helpful in enriching the quality of relationships. Sincere relationships are based on communication using body gestures and facial expressions, but smartphones cannot do them. Yes, social networking sites and instant messaging help us build personal connections. They may be helpful in building numerous casual relationships. However, I believe the body language plays a critical part in building healthy relationships. Facial expressions and body gestures can communicate so much more than words posted on SNS or instant messaging. It is in the eyes and body language that we can see and read a person's mind. The ability of reading facial expressions and body gestures is not something that can be communicated over smartphone. And this disturbs us from making friends and forming real relationships. Everyone, turn on your smartphone and see how many people you have in your contact list. Then, how many are there whom you regard as true friends? Smartphones may help us stay connected with people whom we already know, but it disturbs us from making friends and forming real relationships. Since the invention of smartphone, people spend less time trying to communicate with contacts in the real world, leading to unhealthy relationships. I'm not saying that smartphones should be banned. Smartphones certainly can make our lives more convenient. But we must remember that smartphones are worthwhile only when we learn to use it correctly and wisely. Thank you.
This is the end of Shinji on stage. Judges can ask questions to the speaker.
Thank you. You emphasize the relationship so much.
Yeah.
Could you what is healthy relationship and why is so important?
Like, there can be many casual relationships in our daily life and in our whole life. But I think the healthy relationship represents that we have a friend or some acquaintances that truly can understand our behaviors or our thoughts, minds, and can have some good relationships in the long run, not only for the short period of time. And I think that's the healthy relationship that I think.
Why is that important?
Because think that if we only have some casual relationships in our daily life, then it also means that we don't have someone to tell our minds or our spirit to tell to them. However, if we have some healthy relationships with some specific person or acquaintances, then it is really good to us because we can tell them what we feel these days and about our stories. Thank you. Yes.
You say that in the modern world, having a smartphone is a necessity, and it's difficult to find someone that does not have one.
Yes.
Do any of your friends or family members not have a smartphone?
Actually, my family members all have some smartphone, and also in our classroom, there are many people, many students, many friends who owns the smartphone, but there are few people who does not own one, and they really feel uncomfortable because it is very hard for them to communicate and build some relationships very easily through smartphone with friends. So, yes.
Why is it difficult to build a relationship if you don't have a smartphone? You were talking about how a more meaningful friendship, not smartphone, is more important to you. So why? I don't have a smartphone. I really do not. So I'm very capable of talking to people and making real friendships.
Well, I think that depends upon some people's personality because some people I think you're really confident and say some things to people really easily, but some people also, it is very hard for them to talk with them face-to-face interactions. And I also said that face-to-face interaction is of course important to build healthy relationships, but for specific person, it may be hard for them to communicate. So I think that depends upon our specific person's personality.